And we're back. Sorry for the delay. Let's talk about the market update because you don't need me to tell you this, but the markets have been dumping. This is something I've been expecting for a little while because it just seems like after this FTX thing, even the whales are too scared to buy up crypto at the moment. This is max fear, high fear. Everyone's scared because of what's happening to FTX. And at this point, they're like, well, FTX was meant to be the institutional exchange. It was meant to be where all the smart money bought their crypto. Now that that's gone, now it just leaves Binance and a few other exchanges that the smart money just maybe doesn't have faith in, or whatever the case may be. This is high fear at the utmost, biggest fear we have had all of 2022, just to really go hard right at the end before the year ends, unfortunately. What does that hold for 2023? I will cover that in my next week's video when I talk about the year and what to expect in 2023. Of course, forecasting the financial sector for the entire 2023 is very difficult to do, but I'll have a go anyway. But let's just talk about where Bitcoin is at the moment. At the moment, facing rejection at its 50% at around that 17K mark. And we knew that this was going to be a point of resistance because this 50% tool works extremely well. And we can see almost perfect rejection almost 3 times right here. Unfortunately, just not really. Bitcoin is struggling at its 50%. And you can just see no volume has really come into this market for a while. If we look at a weekly chart, you can see just last week, we really tried to go up in volume. You can see the wick of the candle really going up high, getting slammed down. It just means it tried to go up in price and just couldn't do it. There was just too much selling happening. And it's really, really tough right now because at the very least, you want there to be low volume selling days. At the very, very least, if you don't have low volume selling days and you're getting high green days, but it's not closing up high, those are issues. Those are major issues. And this is what crypto is facing at the moment. Now, good news is that we aren't too far away from major support levels. So major support levels coming at around that 16K mark. So that would be right here at this green horizontal bar. So there will be some support there. And of course, support coming in at around that 15.5K. Will Bitcoin break that mark? Potentially it could be, but I don't think the bottom's too far from where we currently are, because you always have to remember, guys, the second biggest exchange in the world went bust. I mean, that's how much fear it went. Customers selling, institutions investing, selling, the whole exchange selling to try to keep up with the demand of people withdrawing their funds, this cascading effect, and the media reporting about it. You see Sam Beckman-Fried's face everywhere. This is max fear, high fear, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing. It's a good thing because it means that the low is not going to be too far from here where it is now. So we just need to find a bit of a base, but I think that this base that we form next in the coming weeks, maybe even months, that will be the final base that we build upon until we start to accumulate further and get ready for the next bull run. But that's a while away and we'll cover that in next week's video. But for now, expect Bitcoin to continue to go down. Everyone has left the party, guys. Whales are too scared. If we have a look at USDT dominance, you can see how many people show you a USDT dominant chart. Not many people, okay? And you can see USDT dominance on the weekly just absolutely going high. We had the double top play out just a couple weeks ago, so there it is there at around that 9.5% dominance for USDT. Coming down, you can see very similar when I was talking about earlier, low volume selling days. You can apply this language to any chart, and you can see on the weekly chart, Monday, 21st of November, Monday, 26th of November. So during those 2 weeks, there was not much selling, okay? And now you're starting to get a little bit of a pump happening because people are going into USDT. Now, we do still have low volume coming into December, and that's just because people are leaving crypto. You can see there's just not much volume coming into this market compared to what we had a couple weeks ago when USDT was pumping. This is when the whales were basically saying, okay, I'm going to buy USDT, I'm going to wait for some dumps to happen and then buy at a good price. But now we're getting USDT dominance going up on low volume, which means that all those institutions, all those whales, they're all leaving crypto altogether. They're not buying Bitcoin. They're not buying USDT. They're not buying stablecoins. They're buying nothing. They're getting their money. They're running away, which is a big issue. But like I said, it means that the base probably isn't too far from where it is now, because I can't imagine things getting much worse than what it is now in terms of the fear. You can see the S&P has been doing much, much better. There was the bounce on the 50% on this 10th of October. And then we, of course, will have to test this point at some point. So maybe we're making our way there, and then we'll probably get another bounce, maybe a third one, but definitely not more than a third, I don't think. And then we'll start going up higher on the S&P. And you know that, hopefully, that crypto will follow the S&P quite closely. Of course, during these times, because the fiat doesn't necessarily follow it, there's quite a lot of fear, so it's just not following it, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean that it can't follow it into next year as that trust begins to get, regained in Bitcoin and crypto altogether. USDC is starting to finally get some legs back after, some threats about being purchased and things like that, and maybe they weren't looking too good. But basically, from where it is now at the moment, it is looking much, much, much more healthier. Clean cut through the 50%. You'll see a bounce on the 50% at that 5.67 mark, and then we'll start to make our way higher. If we have a look at Ethereum still being an absolute beast, hanging on to that support level from the 13th of July, 13th of June, I should say. So almost full 6 months, it has not had to break that level. That's how strong Ethereum is. Bitcoin, a lot of other alts, they have broken that mid-June support level. Ethereum is going to come and test it, unfortunately. I have no doubt about that. So if you want to buy yourself some ETH, not financial advice, there's some nice good ETH at around that $870 US dollar mark. And I have very, very good faith that Ethereum will do very well in the next bull market, because in this bearish period, it's holding up much more better than almost any other alts. That means that during the bull market, Ethereum is going to do really, really, really well. If we have a look at total market cap 1, 2, and 3, you, to no surprise, should start to see support coming in. So there's your June low, support coming in slowly in that total market cap 1, thanks to Ethereum. Total market cap 2, support coming in at that mid-June period as well. And total market cap 3, you can see the alts are starting to bleed, and we've just broken support. So expect alts to bleed further, unfortunately. If you want to short the market, which is the only way to make money, in my opinion, at the moment, if you're a trader, there are some good shorts. I think Chili's is one that I've been looking at for a while, and this thing's just really struggled big time. So if we have a look on the daily, you can see there was the top in mid-November-ish, third week of November. And as soon as I started to see that the volume was starting to really increase and you started to get these big candles, so they're seeing a high open and a low close, it closed right at the bottom. That's a really, really bad sign. And it just meant the energy just wasn't here for this thing. It had its pump, it had its run, and just move on. People do not like to hear that crypto is bad. So that's why I always say in all my trading altcoin reviews, I say hit it and quit it. Get your profit, get the hell out of there. You do not want to be holding on to these altcoins during these periods. You don't, because you just don't know where it's going to be in 6 months. You just don't know. Unfortunately, there's going to be so many cryptos that just never come back. Doge is another one that I'm looking at, only because Elon Musk looks like he might step down as CEO for Twitter if the polling goes through. So Doge is going to go down quite hard if Elon Musk, I don't know why, he's just tied to it, but that's going to dip. And you can see 50% resistance during the early December periods coming down, and again support coming in for that June period. So if you were to short and put that profit target there, that's a nice healthy 30% profit should it get there. Another one that's actually been bleeding quite a bit, I mean, you can really take your pick here because they've all been bleeding quite a bit, but Solana, big shout out to the market, the crypto sniper. He's one of the YouTubers who I follow. Highly recommend you watch him. But yeah, he's been calling Solana to dip for such a long time now, and he's been on point pretty much perfectly. Solana really looks like he wants to go all the way back down to these levels, basically going from 2020, unfortunately going to that sub $4 mark, unfortunately. But I won't take credit for that. Crypto market sniper is the one who called it. I've been keeping my eye on it, and yeah, he's been right so far. But like I said, you can take your pick with almost any of these altcoins. They're all looking incredibly bad. Metaverse is also looking bad thanks to Facebook's announcement and how much people don't believe it. So Sand, you can see there it is there going down. So many altcoins. Render is starting to finally bleed. It had a bit of a pump, but there it is. It's going to start bleeding and go to that level from that June period. So that's how easy it can be. I mean, it's just finding a crypto, holding it, shorting it. In my opinion, and maybe I'll do a trading video course, but basically you don't need to use leverage when you're shorting. I literally just leverage 1x just to short it because altcoins are volatile enough. It's more just holding onto it and sucking those losses should it start to get near your stop loss, and having a bit of an aggressive stop loss on the upside or the downside, depending if you're going long or short, but giving it a nice good buffer. And if you use leverage, you can't give that buffer because it's just you're trading with leverage, and altcoins are already volatile enough as it is. But unfortunately, guys, not much to say. Everyone has left the party. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait. ETH is still a good buy, even though you can probably get it cheaper. Bitcoin, you can still get it, but it will probably go cheaper. So a good time to DCA just for those two only. But I've been saying that for a while. I've been saying that for a while now. Bitcoin and ETH will always be good buys in my opinion. I promise you, when the next bull run comes, you will be happy you dollar cost averaged at this point. And but even though it can go cheaper, you just don't know for certain. Even though there's a high probability, I would say, going into that January-February period. But we'll cover that when we get there. Until then, hopefully you have enjoyed this video and have a good holidays, whatever you celebrate. And until then, everyone, I will catch you on the next video.